Hello, City Skylines fans. I'm Sockswayup, and welcome back to another episode of Newman Shores. Last episode, we finished up the airport. We added the cargo airport. Today's episode, we're going to focus on this area here in between the two neighborhoods and the high-density downtownish area. We're going to do a city park. We're going to learn a lot about making our own water in City Skylines without mods. I've downloaded and finally purchased the Disasters DLC, so we're going to use some of the features from that. We're going to kind of learn it as we go and see, can we get away with making a lake in our park without mods? We're going to find out. First, you can see we're using the park DLC to zone the area that we're going to have our city park in. I definitely think this is a good addition to Newman Shore. This is something that I think the city's needing. We have not a lot of entertainment yet in the town, and I think this is going to be a huge improvement. As always, I don't know if I explain this all the time, but I record the voice afterwards, so we're doing time lapses, but we're doing them in real time lately. This is my favorite build I've ever done on City Skylines. Wait till the end if you want to see it. I love it. But here we're working on getting electricity going, so what I'm going to do right now, while we first get going with this build, I want to level up the park all the way to level 5, so we can then design it the way we want it long term instead of doing it as we go and upgrading it and adding new buildings. I want everything unlocked, so we're going to just get it going. We're going to get some park buildings laid down to have enough entertainment in the area to get it to level 2. Once we unlock the level 2 buildings, we'll rinse and repeat. While we're doing that, we'll also be playing around with figuring out how to get a lake inside this area without mods. So here we're just laying down a couple buildings, just again, as I said, to get the entertainment up. We're gonna lay a bathroom down, maybe 2 of them, maybe the info booth, and just kind of see, is that enough entertainment? And then there we go. We got all those basic buildings in there, but now let's check the entertainment level is 220 or 280. We needed 220. So now we just wait. It jumped up to 300. We could have the tickets at 20. I don't care about making money on this right now. I want to get as many people as possible into the park so we can level it up as fast as possible. Another thing we're going to do there is we're going to jump into the policies. We're going to turn on a ton of these. We're going to turn on night tours, recycle garbage. We're going to turn on even more fun, celebrate, main park, and advertisement campaigns. Let's get as many people in here as quick as possible so we can level up to level 5, get all of the buildings unlocked, and have free reign to build this park how we want. This portion of the video is going to be a lot of trial and error. We're going to play around with some features I've never seen before in City Skylines with the water inlet, the water outlets, I believe they're called. And here what we're doing is we're just building an area for a little lake. We're going to try it out. We're going to get it all squared. It's round. We're going to get it all set up and ready to go. And then we're going to go get the asset. We're going to grab our outlet there and put it in the sea, put it there, and then we need to connect water and we need to connect electricity to it. After that, we're gonna let it fill up, and this is me learning. I've never used this DLC. I literally purchased it right before doing this recording as I was thinking of this idea. So we're gonna see what happens. I've seen a couple videos of people doing water treatment plants this way or water for their city this way. We're gonna play around with it and see what happens. So it's filling up, we're getting it there. We hit level 2. We got a couple more buildings that we can use in the park to get the entertainment up to 420. I don't know why it dropped from 300. That's kind of strange, but we're gonna go over here. We're going to just go back into our parks, into the city park tab, and we'll grab these new buildings. Once we find them, we have this little checkerboard here. We'll put that down, and then we'll come over to the fishing, the piers. Put one of those down, one of these down, and that should be enough. That should get us to over 420, and we'll just connect this up just to have them not complaining while we do this. Yeah, that should work. So now we got it all filled up, and now we're letting it, we turned it off to see what would happen. Is this a situation where I can use the water outlet, fill up the lake, let it sit there, and it just stays? Double checking our entertainment level, we're good. We'll get to level 3 soon. We're gonna take a look at this. We're gonna, pause the video or pause the recording, come back to it, see if it drains. My guess is it does drain, and we'll have to make a new plan. So yes, it does drain. So those outlets are freshwater outlet is what the asset's called. They do need to be on at all times. So if that's the case, it's gonna flood if we just leave the lake like that. So we're gonna have to have a way to get the water to leave the area. So I've decided to try to play around with canals. I've never really used them before. You can see this other area here is something I've been working on off camera. We need to open a lot more tiles before I can finish that. So pay no attention to that. For right now, it is just a location where we're gonna be dumping water. But again, I was doing a lot of trial and error here. So I was trying to see what you can and can't do with canals as well. Trying to just learn from my own. And you know what, if this doesn't make a good video, I apologize. But again, I really like putting in the failures and successes of the builds. I think it makes for a fun video. At least it shows the human element of someone making YouTube videos. We're just regular people making videos and showing them to the world. But you can see the canal is defying gravity and the water is climbing uphill, which I found to be very interesting, and it is working its way towards the park. And at this point I decide I'm playing the game, so let's connect our railroad so we don't lose any income or anything from that or get the city in a weird state. So we got to just get that lined up correctly, connect it back up. Same thing with the roundabout. I'm not too concerned about that yet because not a lot of traffic needs that road, but let's see what happens here. It's starting to fill up. I just don't like the look of the canals. There's a time and place for them. And this build that we're working on is just not really the place for that. So I don't think we'll keep it. I'm just trying to figure out what it does. And so here I'm trying to build another lake that leads into the canal to see if that's a possible way to separate the canal system from the lake that we're creating for the park. So we're doing that, trying to figure it out. I figured I would level or lower this area, build another pit, and then we would add the canal into it. Now that the terrain's a little different, the canal should start going down towards the bottom of the lake area that we're creating. It says it's too steep. Let's try to just curve it in there, find a good spot that's happy with right on the edge. So it's kind of doing what I was hoping it would do. Not completely though. I wonder if we would have taken it another step forward, if it would have worked better. But again, I think the walls of the canal are gonna ruin the build that I have in mind. So again, I don't think this is going to be the final product, but it definitely gives me an idea that we can do moving forward. Well, there's level 3, so we're moving forward. We got the gazebos open. We need to get to 720. Let's lay a few of them down in this path that we already have. Let's go find those assets. They're in the small buildings all the way over. We'll put one down. Let's see how much they're worth. 60 entertainment, so we need probably 3 more of those to hit that number. There's 1, 2, throw a third one down just to be safe, maybe a 4th one, who knows, and a 5th one. Let's see where that put us, and a 6th one. 7, that's got to be 700, right? Barely 750. I would have thought it was a lot less, but we got there. Now we got to let some more people into the city and get up to level 4 is the next plan there. But here I'm learning what I want to do with this long term. So I think I want about 4 or 5 of these outlets, and I think we can pull off having them underwater eventually so that they don't ruin the look of the lake. And so at the end of the build, the goal is to have it to where it doesn't look like we have anything helping us with this. And this step here is the key to getting that pulled off, is we kind of use some of the terrain tools to soften the steep or the incline of the lake. I want to make it more smooth, kind of like a walking beach. That way we can get some of the water to raise a little bit higher or rise a little bit higher and potentially cover up those outlets as we move them around and put them in the perfect location for that. I think it'll work. I have an idea to pull that off and surround it with rocks and just build a beautiful little lake for this park area. I'm starting to learn that terrain adjustment and terraforming in vanilla or non-modded City Skylines is actually relaxing and fun. You don't do it super fast like you can do it with extra landscaping tools, so you have to kind of think through it and take your time, and the different settings are there. Extra landscaping tools is awesome. It makes it a lot easier, but you can do it in vanilla, and we're proving it here. So now that we have the terraforming out of the way and we have this area of the lake finished the way close that we wanted, I wanted to move the outlets around for their final location. So we ended up using 5 of them in this kind of horseshoe type pattern, and we're going to connect them all up with water pipes and then connect it to the main line. And that should get this going. That should be able to get us to feed water in constantly, and then we'll have the water head down the canal. We'll eventually turn that into just a regular river. We're going to get rid of the canal and make it look a little bit more natural, like it came that way with the city. We're making this city our own. We're using this map the best of our ability, but here's a little sneak peek again at the other side of the city park, how we're going to use the water as well to make a nice feature for people to visit the park and have some entertainment. But doing the same thing we did on the other side, we're going to soften up the edges so that when the water rises up, it can get closer to that edge and kind of spill over just a little bit into the detail work that we're going to put into the later in this episode. So at this point we decide, yeah, the canal's gone. Let's make this look more natural, like it is a river cutting through the city and through the town, and that we've kind of built the town around the city is the look I was going for here. So since we already put the elevated road for the roundabout and the train, we can just go right under them with our terraforming and kind of do a little zigzags, make it look like it cut through the earth when this river was formed. So it looks a little more natural than just a straight line. You never want to make a straight line of a river. That just doesn't look very realistic. So we try to play around with that and make it look a little realistic with some curves and some bends into the river, and have it feed into that main canal system that will then lead into a lake and also back into the main river that leads out to the shore of the ocean in Newman Shores. And I think our education around water and the fresh water outlets and canals is pretty much done at this point. So it's time to get the park up to level 5, get every building unlocked so we can have that freedom to do the design that we want for the park long term. Ding, 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 level 5. Now we have trampolines. So it's time to design. It's time to finish this design. We can see here, plenty of visitors, plenty of entertainment. We can bump that up if we want to and start making money. We don't really need to. So the only part of this build that's going to use anything that's not vanilla or a DLC of City Skylines are these parking lots. There's plenty of videos out there of how you can create your own, or you can just mimic this if you're trying to replicate the build that we're going with. So what we're going to go with is the 1x2 parking lots here. We're going to use the L2 or the L1, the L2 and the R2 so that they're the same parking lot or same parking space facing each other. And then we're going to surround it with a fence. So this is my really first attempt of saying vanilla City Skylines, non-modded City Skylines is not a handicap. We're going to go ahead and detail this just like we would a heavily modded detailed city that I've done on this channel. And we're going to go for it. And like I said earlier in the video, this turns out to be one of my favorite builds I've ever done in City Skylines, modded or unmodded, or heavily modded or not. This definitely became one of my favorite things that I've ever done in this game, and I hope you enjoy it as well. We're going to mimic the same thing on the left side of the park entrance to give some parking to extend the parking that comes with the main gate. It's just not enough for the amount of people we're trying to push into this park. And then replicating what we did on the other side, we want to go find the right tab to get back to our fence and build it around here. And one of the things that has really helped me in vanilla is remembering that I can shut off these tools and only have angle turned on for Snap 2 and not have road guidelines messing up where I want to put things. So at this point we decide, you know what, we have this little gap that we created. It's for decoration, it's for detailing. That's what I said we're going to do here. So that's what's happening next. So palm trees. So we haven't used palm trees at all in Newman Shore. When I sat down and planned out this episode, I decided I wanted to make a city park that was tropical. It was a little different than the rest of the city, so it would stand out when we're doing flyovers or people are visiting the city. Again, you can see we're using different assets that we haven't used in Newman Shore so far with these pinkish purple. Are they purple? I think they're purple. Purple flower bushes that we're using to detail the parking lot. Mixing up a little bit. I wanted to make this park a different place with different scenery than the rest of the city. for, you know, the citizens to come and visit and tourists to visit as well. I'm digging the parking lot so far. Let's move on. Let's get more added to this park. Let's get this final design going. So next, what we're going to want to do is the information center. I love putting the information center right at the beginning of the park. It makes it feel real to me. Like you walk in through the main gate, the first thing you want to do is go to the information center, maybe get a map of the park to see everything that we want to see. I kind of think of these parks as kind of mini amusement parks. There's attractions. I guess there's not attractions, but there's places for kids to see. And since we're making somewhat of a large one, the information booth is definitely going to be needed for people to know where's the best place for my kids. Maybe they want to go to the trampoline. Maybe they just want the regular old jungle gym park. And so we can have all of that information at this info booth for them. We're role playing here. We're getting real deep into this game. So next, what we're going to do is we got that going. I wanted to make these little paths for people to walk on the side. And then we're going to add restrooms. Another thing I think is good to have right at the entrance and throughout the entire park area are restrooms. And I kind of look at these buildings as like individually, one is for the males and one is for the females. So we're going to put one down. We're going to then put another one down the way a little bit, but we'll probably go ahead and add in a path so we can separate it and keep it consistent. Building a little bit of a design, just like we're doing for neighborhoods or commercial areas. We're actually thinking through where we want to put these paths to make it easy for people to get in and out to the different areas of the park. So at this point, we have information, we have restrooms for people. The next thing we're going to want to do is we're going to get rid of those trees on those paths as well, just to kind of help out, because there are going to be a lot of trees in this area. We're going to throw a cafe at the entrance as well. You know, we're thinking about this as a business as well, so you're setting up to make as much income as possible and people walk right through the door. Or maybe they're heading out and they're like, hey, let's hit up the cafe in the park instead of going home to eat or hitting something on the way home. So now that we have the basic needs of the park out of the way, I wanted to start adding in some more visual places for people to hang out. Here we put the plaza down. Then we're going to also do some of the same things we did with the other areas. We're going to build the roads to make the plaza fit perfect so it snugs in there. This entrance of the park is going to be a little unique compared to the rest of the park. I want it to be very planned out and thought out and a lot of things in a small area. We're fitting in a lot of the necessities of the park right in the entrance so that then we can have this just place where people can go find their own space. They can walk the paths, find a gazebo that no one else is using, maybe find a park that's not as busy as the other ones or the jungle gyms. I'm really thinking of this as a real life city, and it's definitely helped me with the design and made me feel like I was part of this town and really felt real as I was making it. And I thought it would be awesome to drive through this city while I was building this. And here we're leaving in a little bit of that trial and error. I added this little loop here and decided I hated it. We don't need that, so we get rid of that. Rather just put some trees and some details into, you know, that area instead of adding more unneeded paths. This plaza, I think, is complete here. We maybe, you know, start putting in a little trees, make it look a little finished. I like how these paths end. It used to drive me nuts how they would be rounded and not flat. I think it actually looks kind of nice. It seems like a nice natural turnaround there. So this next area here is where we start breaking away from the congestion of the beginning of the park. That entry place, there's going to be a lot of people gathered. There's a lot of things to do in that area. Now we want to give a little bit of nature, a little bit of separation, places for families to go and spend time with loved ones, just kind of getting away. Here we decide to place down the chessboard, the large life-size chessboard that people can play. I really want to find one of these in real life and hang out at a park that has one of these. So I'm utilizing the grid here, or the zoning, to try to line this up perfect. One of the approaches I took with this park was to put down some of these buildings first and then put the roads up to them. I feel like that's a cool way to design it, so that way you can get it exactly where you want it instead of just saying, hey, let's build a bunch of random paths, or you know, you can design out a path system and then place things around it. But I thought it was kind of nice for some of these buildings to just say, it's going here, we'll make it work. Well, let's end this episode with a live play. We're gonna mimic driving into the park. This is the road that you would take leading into the main gate. It's busy. There's a lot going on here, but I love it. There's a lot to look at. There's a lot of detail. I think we did a good job as we have a palm tree stuck in the concrete. But here you go. You got the information center. We got the cafe right at the entrance to, you know, get some money from the people. We have separate bathrooms for men and women. In my head, the game probably doesn't care. These parking lots turned out great. I love it. I don't know how that guy's gonna get out. That's not gonna work. That person's stuck behind him as well. But yeah, these parking lots look sweet. I gotta get rid of those RVs. We'll get rid of those assets next. You know, Newman Shore has a pretty cool city park in my opinion, and I love the way it turned out. We got some clusters of those purple flowers as well, a ton of gazebos. Maybe people have birthday parties here, engagements, who knows what happens in this area. I'm sure there's a lot of fun times for families. Again, wouldn't it be so cool to be in real life and play that? I gotta find a park like that near me. And then the rocks around the lake, I think, look really sweet, and the palm trees make a nice touch. It mixes it up in this city. The trampoline park for the kids to play on, jump on the trampolines. Looks like there's some adults there as well. I love the way this path turned out with the little arch in the top, and then we have some of these piers where people are hanging out. Maybe they're fishing, just enjoying the lake. Some benches to sit at as well. A little bit of water left over. I thought I took care of that. That's unfortunate. But yeah, that big rock in the middle I think makes for a nice appeal there, as well as just lining this with a ton of rocks and nature to, I mean, this looks like the city spent a lot of money on making it. The roundabout, we decided to detail that as well. It's kind of an extension of the park where it ends, and we have a little path to go over the road as well. This area has a little less going on, more just playgrounds and places for people to walk. Some of the things I was thinking about in this city or this park is that you have a lot of areas for kids to play. You also have a lot of areas, maybe people come here and they run and they work out here and they exercise, or they just go for walks as well. We got some extra bathrooms on this side as well, and just this little winding stretch of another side gate that you can get into the park from. Pretty cool. I love it. This right here, imagine living in a city and driving past this. Don't look at that. But yeah, you drive past here just like that motorcycle did, and this is your view. Gorgeous. Gorgeous view going over that bridge that separates the two sides of the park. Again, I'm ecstatic with the way this build turned out. It fits nice in between those neighborhoods. That one to the right needs a little bit of work. I'm not a fan of that yet. Yeah, that area, yeah, we'll improve that in a few episodes from now, or maybe next one. One of the things that I did want to point out, you can see the freshwater outlets right now, but they're not visible. They don't really ruin the build. It almost looks natural. You can see them under there because you know they're there. They almost look like rocks or something. I think it looks nice. You can see this river kind of leads out to the canal system, which we'll do something different with. We don't have the tile up top here. This kind of, yeah, I'm not sure there. But you know, this area here, we can see we're starting to fill it with water, so you can kind of see what I'm thinking for that area. I have some plans for that. There's the airport. I'm surprised we spent this much time on this side of the city, or this side of the river, which is surprising to me. I thought we'd spend a lot more time on the other side. This side has just come out real fast, real natural to me. I'm really enjoying Newman Shores and keeping it vanilla, keeping it as much just basic Cities Skylines as possible. Everyone say hi to Finley. He's barking in the background. I think he wanted to be in another video. But look, there's these new bridges. I bought also the bridge and piers content creator pack. That's the right word. I bought that, so we added that as well. So some of the train bridges, we're gonna upgrade as well. Starting to play around with that. You can see some of them here. They look slick. I love the pillars. I love the look of them. They're very clean. Some things we're gonna do is clean up the water in the next episode. I'm excited about that. But yeah, this is Sockswayup, 25 minutes into a video. If you're still here, hit the like button. And if you're not a subscriber, hit the subscribe button. Thanks for hanging out this long. I hope you love this build as much as I did. And I'll catch you on the next episode of Newman Shores.